look at the screen. Look at the blinking cursor, the blank page, the unread messages, the project file you have opened and minimized 3 times in the last hour. Notice the tightening in your chest, the shallow breathing, the sudden, overwhelming urge to check the news, clean your kitchen, or disappear into the infinite scroll of a timeline. You probably call this laziness. You tell yourself you lack discipline. You look at the hours bleeding away and feel a hollow, sinking shame, convinced that you are fundamentally defective, lacking the invisible willpower that everyone else seems to possess. But let us be completely honest. Laziness is comfortable. True laziness is the enjoyment of idleness. If you were truly lazy, you would be resting peacefully. You would feel relaxed, but you are not relaxed. You are agonizing. You are exhausted by the mental gymnastics of avoidance. You are paralyzed, watching the clock vibrating with a quiet dread, unable to work and unable to rest. This is not laziness. It is terror. Procrastination is not a flaw in your time management. It is a profound subconscious failure of emotional regulation. It is fear wearing the mask of apathy. And until you strip that mask away, you will remain a prisoner in a cell where the door has always been unlocked. 2,000 years ago, the Stoics did not battle algorithms or digital notifications, but they understood the fundamental architecture of human avoidance. They mapped the human mind not as a logical calculator, but as a meaning-making machine deeply susceptible to its own illusions. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus observed that we are not disturbed by things, but by the views we take of them. Apply this to the work you are avoiding. The task itself, typing words, making a phone call, studying a textbook, is physically harmless. It requires a few calories of energy. Yet your nervous system is reacting as if you are standing at the edge of a cliff. Why? Because of the view you are taking of it. You have unknowingly attached your self-worth, your identity, and your safety to the outcome of this task. You are terrified of what the work represents, the possibility of failure, the pain of inadequacy, the judgment of others, or the agonizing realization of your own limitations. Through the Stoic lens, procrastination is the ultimate violation of the dichotomy of control. We are obsessing over an outcome. We cannot guarantee how the work will be received, whether it will be good enough, whether it will succeed, and in our panic over that uncontrollable future, we abandon the only thing we actually possess, the present action. We refuse to step into the arena because we cannot mathematically guarantee the applause. And so we sit in the stands, slowly rotting with unfulfilled potential. To break this cycle, we must stop searching for productivity hacks and begin a much darker, quieter psychological excavation. We must examine the 3 distinct faces of this fear. The most paralyzing fear is the fear of ruining the fantasy. Right now in your head, the project you are avoiding is perfect. The unwritten essay is a masterpiece. The unstarted business is a triumph. The unsent email is articulate and flawless. As long as it remains in your imagination, it is safe from the dirty, chaotic friction of reality. To begin the work is to commit an act of violence against that perfect ideal. The moment you type the first sentence or make the first attempt, you're forced to look at your actual current level of competence. And it is usually awkward, clunky, and flawed. Procrastination is the ego's defense mechanism against this grief. By delaying the work, you are protecting the pristine fantasy of your potential. You never have to admit that your current abilities do not match your taste. The Stoic approach requires a brutal, humbling acceptance of reality. You must intentionally choose to produce garbage. You must willingly lower your expectations of the initial outcome and surrender the need to be impressive right out of the gate. The strong mind accepts its own mediocrity not as a permanent state, but as the only geographical location from which it can begin the journey. You must let the perfect ideal die so the flawed reality can breathe. When we procrastinate, we do not simply refuse to do the work. We make a silent promise, I will do it tomorrow. We invent a fictional character, the future self. We imagine that tomorrow we will wake up flooded with motivation. We imagine our future self will be rested, disciplined, fearless, and entirely unbothered by the anxiety that cripples us today. Seneca, in his letters on the shortness of life, mocked this human tendency to pawn our lives off to the future. We live as if we have an infinite reservoir of tomorrows, freely dumping our psychological debts onto a version of ourselves that does not exist. This is a profound act of cowardice. It is the abandonment of the present moment. Your future self will not save you. Tomorrow, you will wake up with the exact same mind, the exact same insecurities, and the exact same neurological resistance to discomfort. The only difference is that the timeline will be shorter, and the panic will be louder. Quiet power is found in the realization that there is no rescue coming. There is no sudden wave of inspiration waiting for you on the other side of midnight. There is only the cold, unglamorous present. To conquer procrastination, you must stop outsourcing your courage to a phantom. You must sit in the chair today, fully accepting that you do not feel ready, and do it anyway. Beneath the fear of failure, and beneath the illusion of tomorrow, lies the deepest terror of all the intimacy of friction. When you sit down to do deep, unstructured, difficult work, you are forced to be alone with yourself. The noise of the world fades. You cannot hide behind your social persona. You are left alone in a quiet room with your own confusion, your own frustration, and your own struggling mind. Most of us are terrified of this silence. We reach for our phones, we scroll through social media, we find urgent, trivial tasks to do, not because the work is too hard, but because we cannot bear the intimacy of our own limitations. Distraction is a numbing agent. It is an anesthetic we inject to avoid feeling the sharp edge of our own inadequacy. Stoicism teaches the practice of endurance, not just enduring cold weather or physical pain, but enduring the agonizing discomfort of your own mind. It is the willingness to sit with your frustration without demanding an immediate escape hatch. You must learn to observe your urge to pull away, to notice the physical itch, to check your phone and to deny it. Not with anger, but with a cold, steady indifference. You let the anxiety rise, you let it wash over you, and you keep your hands on the keyboard. If you implement this, if you stop running lower your expectations and force yourself into the friction of the present moment, what is the reward? The modern world will tell you that you will achieve massive success, that you will dominate your field command respect and finally feel the warm glow of victory. The Stoic will tell you the truth. You might do the work facing all your fears bleeding onto the page, and the world may completely ignore it. You may finish the project only to have it rejected. You may finally speak up only to be misunderstood or ridiculed. The outcome remains entirely out of your control. Doing the work does not grant you immunity from failure or social friction. And that is exactly the point. You do not do the work to guarantee the applause. You do the work to reclaim your own mind. You do it to sever the chains of anxiety that dictate your behavior. You do it so that when you look in the mirror, you see someone who is sovereign over their own choices, regardless of the world's reaction. Overcoming procrastination will not make you superior to the people around you. It will simply make you free from yourself. So look at the blinking cursor. Feel the dread in your chest. Acknowledge it. Validate it. Let the fear sit right beside you in the room. And then quietly, without hope of rescue or guarantee of reward, press the first key.